Want to welcome those of you who are in attendance and those who are watching the recording. This is the WyoHelp 2024 Community Action Plan public meeting. This is a requirement of our Community Services Block Grant. We are currently serving Carbon County, Crook County, Goshen County, Niobrara County, Washakie County, and Weston County. And so this meeting is to present to the public some of our plans for the 2022 fiscal year, which goes from October 2023 until September of 2024. So with that, I will go ahead and I will go through the information. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat, but we'll also have a time at the end to go through any questions that you might have for those of you who are present. If you're watching this recording and you have presence, feel free to go ahead and shoot us an email or give us a call. You can find a printout with more details of this plan on our website at wyohelp.com. So moving forward, let's start with an overview of what we're going to be looking at. So first, as I mentioned, we do serve 6 Wyoming counties, and our mission is to improve the quality of life for people in need by empowering them to become more self-sufficient. Community action changes people's lives, embodies the spirit of hope, improves communities, and makes America a better place to live. We care about the entire community, and we are dedicated to helping people help themselves and each other. That's the pledge of community action. So not only do we want to help people individually, but we want to work within each community to address the causes of poverty and help people who might be experiencing poverty to address those circumstances themselves, and then to equip them to also help their neighbors. So when we deal with planning and community action, we use what's called ROMA, Results-Oriented Management and Accountability. We start with an assessment period. And as we assess what our counties have been experiencing, we do what's called a community needs assessment. And the needs assessments that we have are from 2020 and 2021. So these are pre-pandemic. We will be doing a new needs assessment in 2024, and then we would be able to implement that new information in 2025. But using the information that we do have available to us, across our 6 counties, these are the 4 items there where we see the most commonality or the highest need. That's food assistance, employment opportunities, healthcare assistance, and housing assistance. And so we're going to discuss those areas of need, and those will be our focus in 2024. It isn't that each one of these were the top need in each county, but they have the greatest identifier as a need in a majority of our counties. So planning. One of the things that we do as a community action agency, or what we want to do, is we want to coordinate efforts with community partners within the counties that we serve, identify who's doing what, who's already doing good work, and how do we identify that, support that. And if there are gaps where we've identified those needs and the community has identified those needs, how do we all work together to address those causes? And so WyoHelp, being a community action agency, hopefully to serve as a hub in your counties, our plan for 2024 is, first of all, to start having those community meetings. We need to get together. We need to talk and discuss what we believe are the true needs. What kind of solutions would we have? How do we want to proceed? And then who would be the lead? Who would be supporters? What kind of resources can we all bring to the table? In addition to that, we will be providing temporary programs. So in 2024, there's a huge change in our funding, but we're going to do our best to provide as many programs as we can with the funding that's available to us. And we're going to provide some temporary programs while we work within our communities to plan and discover what programs and services we should implement above all others. And then fundraising. A lot of the grants that we can get or could get are reimbursement grants. They require us to spend the money to get the money. And in order for us to be strong and healthy in the counties that we serve, we do need to establish what we call a leverage fund so that we have those funds to use to spend on your behalf and then get reimbursed by those grants. But it's very difficult for us to manage and to support those grants without already having the funds in place. So let's look at the first one, food distribution. In Carbon County, we're looking at programs would be a food pantry, providing food gift cards. We're going to have those meetings. So that's our primary focus in Carbon County regarding food distribution. We're going to open a food pantry. We're looking at the first part of July. That food pantry will require some donations to really be strong and secure, but we do have some grant funds to get us through the remainder of this fiscal year. We've been talking with the other food pantries that exist in Carbon County. We've looked at the numbers from Feeding America, and we can see that Carbon County and their top list was food insecurity. So that's why we're focused on assisting them with more food resources and partnering with existing partners and churches and community groups to hopefully provide more resources in that area. In Crook County, primarily in terms of food distribution, is food cards and meetings. It's cooperating with existing food pantries and finding out how we can partner and work together. Goshen County, we already have a food pantry existing. We hope to expand it a little bit, enhance it. We will have those food gift cards, and we will be holding meetings regarding our food pantry. Niobrara, same thing. We'll have food gift cards, and we will host meetings to determine what's the best way forward. Same in Washakie County. In Weston County, we're hoping to maintain the office that we have there and turn it into a TFAP distribution. A TFAP is a government program that is run by the Food Bank of Wyoming, and it's a DFS program. But we hope to have a TFAP distribution available. And again, we would have food cards and we would host those meetings. So for 2024, that is our main focus in terms of food distribution to identify and address food insecurity. Employment opportunities, unfortunately, at this time, that is just an issue that exceeds our capacity. We don't have the capacity or resources to address employment opportunities at this time. We do have workforce in most of our communities or access to workforce resources. So we will be referring to workforce or identifying other community partners who can assist with those details. Healthcare assistance. This is where we will have a lot of our resources in 2024. As you can see at the top, in 2 of our counties, we are partnering with the Salvation Army. With that, we will be providing prescription or medical payments. The Salvation Army is actually funding it, but we will be providing the access to the resource through our offices. Then through other grants and resources that we've obtained in Carbon County, we can provide hearing aids, vision aids, over-the-counter medications, diapers, baby food, and clothing. And that is actually the same. You can see that in each of our 6 counties. That was a CDC grant that we were able to receive. It's to address health disparities and disparities resulting in low-income individuals. And so we do have that grant that will be providing that. It's about $6,000 per county that's going to be available for those resources. So we hope that we can get some good work done in that area. I think I skipped one. Housing assistance. There we go. Again, partnering with the Salvation Army in Carbon County and Goshen County, we can do some minor home repair, rent, and utility payments. Now, understanding the limits through the Salvation Army are pretty minor. We're looking at $200, $250. So we're not going to do, like repairing the entire home. But what we're looking at is if there are safety-specific issues and that amount of money can contribute or benefit, we can partner with maybe other churches or other partners. We can help provide some assistance. Then all the rest of the counties, we're looking at providing utility assistance through Energy Share. Energy Share is also attached to the Salvation Army, but we can make it available to each county. It is a program that the utilities throughout Wyoming contribute to, and it is available in the winter months. typically like November through March or April, depending on how much funding is available. So they actually provide the funding, but we provide access to the resource. Then in youth services, we are planning on operating a youth alternatives program in Niobrara County. So that's an additional program that we're adding this year, to where we're going to be developing policies and procedures and providing a staff member to address that need in that community. So community initiatives. So the other services that I listed are primarily individual based or household based. The community initiatives is where we cooperate and work with our community partners. It's those meetings that I was talking about, where we say, oh, what's the big ticket item that we're focusing on here? And so at each county, you can see in Carbon County, it's that food pantry we're trying to start. In Crook County, it's primarily developing partnerships to start the conversation and engage in those partnerships. Goshen County, it's the food pantry. Niobrara, it's that youth alternatives program. And then Washakie and Weston, again, it's engaging in those relationships, getting the conversation rolling. What we don't want to do is make assumptions as to what the community needs and just act on our own. We want to engage with the people who live there, who know best what might need to be done, and then find community partners who can support our work while we provide and access resources that might help all of us. So financial, this is the financial total income that we are looking at having for each county. Carbon County would be just shy of 196,000. Crook County is 30,000. Goshen County is just shy of 170,000. Niobrara County is 59,000, and that's primarily because we obtained a juvenile justice grant through the state for Niobrara County. Washakie County is just shy. Well, that's actually missing a number. That would be 49,687. So put a 4 in there. Weston County is 46,728. So the total would be $551,000 of income that we're expected to receive on behalf of all 6 counties. Our program expenses are listed, and the program expenses are the work that we do on behalf of providing services. Now, that also includes the time of staff to implement meetings, to meet with council people, county commissioners, with businesses. So it's also that time that we spend in meetings to engage the community and to develop plans. So in Carbon County, 167,000, Crook County, 22,000, Goshen, 140,000, Niobrara, 59,000, Washakie, 35,000, and Weston County, 35,000. Total is 452. So admin expenses, we do have overall organizational expenses that we deal with. It's things like insurance and other, we have auditing expenses at times, financial expenses. And the way that each county is charged is on a cost basis based on the amount of income that they bring in and the percentage of expenses that we spend on behalf of that county. So it is cost shared at an appropriate percentage. Carbon County is just shy of 28,000, Crook County 78, Goshen is 85, Niobrara 77, Washakie is 14, and Weston is 10. And then the amount of funds that we really need to raise in each county to support the grants that we're currently receiving and will be providing resources to those counties. And you can see in Carbon County, this is just leverage funds. Carbon County, actually, we need to raise a lot more money than that because we'll need to support the food pantry. This is just to support the grants. Carbon County is 32,000, Crook County is 5,000, Goshen County 28, Niobrara 98, Washakie 82, and Weston County is 77. So that is the end of the slides. And so now we can simply talk. And if you have any questions, you can raise your hand or let me know. But the main thing is that 2024 is a transitional year for us. The last since April of 2020, we've had substantial funding in the terms of a CARES grant, in terms of partnering with Wyoming ERAP, and we were able to provide substantial funding for rent assistance, utility assistance, medical assistance, and that was primarily due to the pandemic. All of those programs are coming to an end September 30th, 2023. So our funding is getting cut by more than half, just in terms of because it's pandemic-related funding that's going away. It's not because we lost our regular grants. It's just that we had so much supplemental money that we were able to do so much more. It is unfortunate. It's something we are still applying for multiple grants. There are several potential funding sources from the governor's office. They're looking at possible funding for a family resource center. They're looking at possible funding for food insecurity. There's a possible diaper grant. There's possible housing grants. So the main thing for us is we wanted to make sure that we maintained our capacity and our staffing that would allow us to capture those grants or those funding sources when they became available, so that if our counties can access those funds, that we have the ability for somebody to administer them, to distribute them, or to manage the services that are a result of those funding resources. And that may or may not always be WyoHelp. It may be that there's another community partner who is best suited for it, but we wanted to make sure that we had the ability to manage and maneuver those funding sources if necessary to really help support that. So with that, any questions?
Good morning, this is Crystal Zerby, and I'm the Sensible Nutrition Educator for both Weston County, Niobrara County, and Goshen County. So I thought I'd hop on and kind of visit with you guys and see where everything was going for 2024. I was also gonna stop down later this afternoon down at WyoHelp. I'm currently down here in Goshen and visit with you guys about a potential partnership between CMP and you guys to help kind of with the food insecurity within those counties and see kind of how it was that I could help there as well. So I just wanted to say hi, introduce myself, and kind of get updated on and building in the loop. So good morning.
Well, good morning or afternoon, actually. And
well,
yes, thanks for joining us. We look forward to meeting you. Due to the way that the current environment is, we felt that food insecurity was a good area to address, especially with the continued increased prices of groceries. We know that California has flooding. That's going to impact food prices. Florida is having some issues with possibly some of their produce. So we just know that food is going to be one of those areas that gets hit really hard in the next year or two. And there's a lot of emphasis on it. So we know that there's good potential resources for funding. So that's one of the reasons why we highlighted it. And plus, we can see that in Wyoming. And it's not just families. We have a lot of seniors who experience food insecurity. A lot of times their regular Social Security check doesn't cover, the increased costs, and they have to make some very important decisions. And so we want to work with our communities to make sure that our seniors are healthy as well. Anybody else? All right, one of the important things for us is we took on 5 additional counties. We started in Goshen County, but we took them on in the middle of the pandemic the first year. And so it did take us a little bit of time before we could really get situated in every county. And we were able to use the ERAP contract that we had to place a person in each county. But fortunately, that grant is ending in June, and we won't be able to keep all of our staff members or have a staff person in every county. But ultimately, our goal is that we would have a physical presence in every county we serve. And so one of the ideas that we're trying to find some funding for and support for is the idea of using food pantries as a primary first point of contact or point of resource. Usually if you need food, you might need rent money, you might need utility money, you might need other resources. And so whether we operate a food pantry or we can coordinate efforts with existing food pantries, it's just finding a way to provide resources or make resources known to people who have need in that community. And a lot of times the funding that we can receive in our smaller counties isn't sufficient to really afford staff members and then also have resources. And so one of our objectives is if we can partner with the counties, if we can partner with the communities, if we can find some of those grant resources and we can combine efforts, then we have a better shot of being able to secure a person and have a person available in those communities, because we're going to do our best to be available electronically where we don't have staff in person, but we all know that sometimes it just requires a person to talk to. Sometimes it might be that the digital paperwork is confusing, it may be overwhelming, and it's that person that you can talk to who can assure you, that person who can help guide you through the process, that just makes it a lot easier for you to deal with. So in some of our counties, at least for a time period, we might only be available electronically, but that's not our goal. But it has to be a community effort because we may not be able to secure all the resources necessary to make it viable to offer a person. And it could be cost sharing people. It could be that there's a person who works for another organization and together we can pay them, together we can find a way to make them available. So really it is getting in with those communities, finding out what's available, finding out who else is doing and what resources we all have, and then coming with a plan together. All right, anybody else? Or are you telling me I did such a good job of explaining that you understand all of it? Because I do think like I need to at least have a half-hour meeting. Does everybody understand community action? How about that? Community action is a little bit of a new concept to Wyoming. If you've been outside of Wyoming, you might be familiar with it. But essentially, community action is you might have one nonprofit or one government agency that helps to provide the interconnectedness. But the concept is that the answers and the solutions reside within the community itself, and especially within the people that you serve. So we want to make sure that our clients or the people that we're helping, that we develop a process and a system to where they're engaged with us in leadership, they're engaged in providing answers and feedback, and they're engaged in helping us know, will this be successful or not be successful? Is this a good idea or not a good idea? Oftentimes, if you're not in the circumstance, it can seem like a wonderful idea. But a person who would receive the service could say, this is the problem. This is why nobody's going to do what you think they're going to do. And it's very important to hear that voice. And so that's a part of community action. But while we also care greatly about providing stabilization resources, because we know that a person needs to be stabilized before they can really work towards self-sufficiency or work on other issues, we want to work on the causes of poverty. So can we get into those counties and start to say, hey, listen, this could be the particular reason why we're seeing this poverty issue. And we think that if we do this, it may benefit it. It may help make it better. The wonderful thing about the primary grant that we use, the Community Services Block Grant, is it gives us flexibility to try. We measure. Now, this is also one of the hardest grants that there is because it has a lot of accountability. With every program that we do, we have to guess in some ways, or we use data to determine what our targets are going to be. How many people do we think we're going to have use this program or service? And then we have to measure it to see, were we successful? Did they achieve what we thought that would be achieved? Is this worth our time? We have to make sure that it's a true need in the community, so we aren't just doing something that makes us feel good. So there's a lot of measurables to it. So there's a lot of data collection. There's a lot of work to be done. But then it helps us to get the answers. Are we doing good work? Is this what the community truly needs? And then we can provide that data to the communities and say, well, what should we focus on? So that's the wonderful thing is we can use census data, we can use poverty data, we can use unemployment data, but a part of it is also getting the community to say, this is where we think we are. And we can use that and then address it. So I really love this grant because to me, it's the ultimate local solutions for local problems. And I'm really a believer that those who are closest to it know best. But sometimes we just don't have all the resources we need to get the job done. And so that is a part of what WOW Help is about, is partnering with the communities and the counties to secure some of those resources and those partnerships to help you achieve some of the things that you believe need to be done and are very important. So that is the end of my spiel. I think I've said enough. If there are no more questions, I will go ahead and end the recording, and I'll let you go on with your day. This will be available on our website. So if you have anybody else who might be curious about our information, I do also have the print out form, which is a little bit more detail. And you can also get that and share it with people as well. So thank you very much for your time. We hope to see you all sometime this summer. We're going to have pop-up events in each county. And thank you very much for the work that you do in your own communities.